Summer is in the air, people. Walking up this pathway in this past week, all the blossoms out and the buds are now sprouting, and there is a green hue everywhere. And this green hue starts off very, very pale, and then throughout the summer gets progressively more darker and richer in green. And it's a sight to behold. So, a friend of mine sent me a video last night, a 15-minute video, and it was about an Indian guy, which looked very much like an Indian guru, but I think it was just, a guy with his channel and speaking about life and this. And he was speaking about a certain realization that he had, because he'd gone deep into this non-dualism, that everything's one, and it's all Maya, and we live and we die, so what? And disasters happen, well, it's just shit that goes down, and it doesn't mean anything anyway because nothing's real, and all that sort of thing. And I went, well, yeah, interesting, because that's where I am now. To a degree, you see, what people have to, really get their heads around is that, albeit Buddhists would have the I can't say belief or notion, they'd have some sort of an adherence to the Maya, because they know that it is illusory. It isn't what the ego thinks it is. It is so much more profound, it's so much deeper, and it's so much more complex. And so that's the whole concept of Maya. But, it's kind of like nothing lasts, and the only thing that makes anything feel in any particular way is our ego, what we project onto the world. And so they adhere to some sort of escapism, whereby they just sit in meditation and they say, fuck the world. In the deepest of meditation, it's the only thing that's real, and I don't want to get involved with all that stuff. Well, I don't do that. I'm full on involved with the natural world, and lots of other facets. I don't go out mixing with the sheep, for fun. I just don't do that. But I do go to the gym, I do go to the supermarket, and I do have a chat with the neighbours, and I do see a few friends, and family members, and this, that and the other. So I am actually out there, but you guys don't see that. But then I come onto my channel and I'm philosophizing, because this is what this channel's about. It's about spirituality, psychology, philosophy, predominantly, and that's what I speak about. And so you may think that I've lost touch with the world and I don't know how to interact with people. No, I'm absolutely fucking superb. I'm a master at interacting with people, and it's not a pretense, it's just something that I naturally do. Every single person I meet upon this path, I engage with them all, and they all end up smiling. It's a joy, it's a pleasure, a little bit of chit chat and this, that and the other, and all the dogs love me and all that. And lots of people in the gym, find conversations with me very interesting. And so it's not that the world's all Maya, there's no point, and so there, just sit in a cave all day. No. Have you ever seen me sitting in a cave? Well, maybe you have down in Portugal, when I was down there doing that. But I'm out and about. I'm full-on explorer, and I always have been. So I'm absolutely embracing this life and the world. but I speak about the Maya because it's interesting, and I'm an intellectual, and that's what intellectuals do. They speak about interesting stuff, and that's the nature of a philosopher. You know, just because people talk about all this crazy, weird and wonderful stuff, it doesn't mean that they live their lives by it, because you've got to interact in the world, and we have a sensibility where we can derive pleasure and all those different sorts of things, and even pain. It's a fine line between pain and pleasure, and if you don't experience pain, you'll never really experience pleasure, because you'll have nothing really to measure it against, to gauge it against. Because when you've suffered deeply, and then when you have exquisite experiences, well, they just taste so much better, you know. But we know what I do know. Here's the thing, look. Out of the 6 videos I put up yesterday, the one where I'm talking about cleaning my house and washing up had the most thumbs up. You liked that video the most. I rest my case. I'm like, what the fuck? You're on my channel. It's, you know, these aforementioned facets of what it is to be, and you respond very, very little to that. But if I'm washing up, then oh fuck me, you love that shit. So, and yet you're still here. Very, very few subscribers, you know, unsubscribe. And so, you know, you love washing up videos. Well, for me, shall I do a video of me cleaning my ears and dyeing my beard? Is that what you want to see? How I maintain my dreadlocks? Is that it for you guys? You know, the mundane is the most interesting because it's the most familiar to most people. The esoteric is out there bizarre stuff that hardly anybody speaks about or knows anything about. And like I'm always saying, unless you're versed in this stuff, people who speak about it just seem fucking weird and far out. Because according to you, they are. And that's why I'm more speaking about concentric circles of consciousness. You drop a pebble in a pond and then the circles go out. Most people are in the first circle. But people like me, they're far, far out in the outer extremities of these circles. But we can look into all the inner ones because we've been there, we came from there. But people in those centre ones, they can never look outside into the outer parameters. They have to experience slowly, what those outer parameters have to offer before they could take ownership of it. It's kind of like going to university and studying a particular subject. Well, you don't get your PhD or your degree until you've accomplished that, do you? So albeit you're in that parameter, you're in that circle, you're not fully fledged, and so you're not ready then to go on to the next circle. So when I'm speaking about, you know, these concepts and notions, you know, as a philosopher, I just find them fascinating. As a thinker, I can think about them forever and research them forever because they are infinitely ineffable, infinitely indecipherable, infinitely unknowable. And that's one of the beauties of the human being, that we cannot know all these things, because as soon as we know these things, then they become mundane to us and we doubtless lose interest in them. If you are a thinking person, you always want to have a bit more of a proposition to pursue. You want to delve into something deeper, you want to make more discoveries, like archaeology or, different levels of science, or seeking out something new. That's what we do. The inspired human, the educated human. But if you're none of those things, then you're just like pigs in shit in your small little ego, and nothing else outside of that is interesting to you. Maybe, watching me dye my beard, that would be really interesting to you. You'd be mesmerised by that. Comments down below, how many of you want to see me dyeing my beard? And choosing the colour. I'm going to go blonder next time, because it's the summertime. I'm going to go blonder. And so, wow, what will I look like then? I'll probably look more like Cat Weasel. But hey, who gives a fuck? So, what I'm saying basically is this, people. Life is mild. It isn't anything like anybody thinks it is. And all we need to do is just pick up some of the major concepts of this life, like love and God and consciousness and existence and physical matter, and all of a sudden we just end up in the abyss. There isn't even a glimmer of light or hope at the end of those tunnels. They just lead you into the abyss. Look, that's that muppet. He's fucking got all the gear on. All the fucking high vis and fucking pads and helmet. Oh my god, the guy lives in sheer terror. Sheer terror. And he's the one in the gym want to go like, what about this and what about that? But he hasn't got a clue. I think he's one of these guys that lives with his mum. He's like 50 years old, lives with his mum. That's just what it strikes me as. He never instigates a conversation, never puts anything into the conversation, just stands there, with stupid looks, and they're not even acknowledging looks. They're kind of like, so he's pinging from fucking fence to fence. Maybe, things like, maybe, and his face is going like that all the time. A very, very confused individual. So every single individual that I meet and I listen to and I engage with, they're all vastly peculiar. I was listening to one of the instructors, female, the other day, and she was talking about her boyfriend. She says the boyfriend just put up a dumbbell rack on the wall. And she said, he's so stupid, because when he put the dumbbell rack up, he didn't notice that we could no longer open, one of the cabinet doors. And so by the time he'd put all the fixings in the wall, he said, I can't bother still and do it now. So we can't open that cupboard anymore. We can't use that cupboard. He's so stupid. And yet they just go on. They just go on and on. And, I know other people that they ask me, how did you know how to do that? And it's really, really elementary. And it's like these people have never ever experienced anything in their lives. They've never been anywhere or done anything. They've never encountered things, the tiniest of little problems to solve in their lives, because they've lived with their mother and gone to university until they're like 27, and then they've gone straight into some shit job whereby they just get told exactly what to do. And all they're doing is just regurgitating shit they've learnt in university. They're not in the fucking world, are they? How you doing, mate? They're just not in the world. They're fucking bizarre. Everybody's absolutely bizarre. And, I'm no exception, of course. I'm bizarre in a other way. But if people ask me about my bizarreness, then at least I'd acknowledge it and I could speak about it all in depth, all of my weird quirks and, all the bizarre stuff I talk about. I can take you on a journey of the lineage from the very, very earliest days right up to present. And this is what I've done in my life whenever I've been studying anything. I go back to source. I go back to the origin of whatever it is. Philosophy, psychology, spirituality. I go back to the absolute origin of these things and then come forward. So I have a very, very deep and profound insight and feeling into them. Whereas the vast majority of people, they don't do that. They're just like frogs on lily ponds. Lily pond leaves. Hopping on this one, hopping on that one, maybe hopping back on that one, not having any real design or idea about anything. They're just doing what frogs do. Just fucking hop about. And who was it? Was it Napoleon Hill that spoke about drifters? People that just drift through life without rhyme or reason or purpose or thinking about what they're doing and where they're going. So when we just look at simple things like euphemisms that we use all the time, we're speaking about God and love and all that different sorts of stuff. Nobody knows what these things mean. You may think that you know what they mean because you have a little bit of a thought with a little bit of an emotion, and you've had a little bit of this emotion there and a little bit of that emotion there, and you think that that's what everyone's talking about. But if you actually spoke to everybody, then you discover that what these concepts mean to them are invariably very, very different to what you think they are. And so we're all in a fucking fantasy. And this is why I say there's no such thing as that love concept. We have feelings, but we can attribute these feelings to a whole array of other words and language if we put our minds to it. Instead of going, oh, that's love, that is. Oh, I love apples, I love pears, oh, I love walking, I love playing football. Oh, and that's it. It's pathetic. It's shocking. It's a shocking indictment to the human being. That's what I'm saying. From an intellectual's perspective, people are so dull and so stupid because they actually think that they know something and the words, concepts they're using actually mean something. Like God. What the fuck does God mean? Can anybody definitively describe God? No. It's just a fucking fiction, fantasy, non-word. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. People can say, oh, it's a higher being. What do you mean a higher being? How fucking high? Because if you read the Bible, then, there's fucking parameters of this because Jehovah is another word for Yaldabaoth, and Yaldabaoth is a mini fucking god, a demiurge, as far as, Sophia, the true god of the cosmos, is concerned. And then Sophia even comes out of a higher god. It's all fucking Russian dolls, people. Because this is the nature of consciousness. We just keep inventing something and something and something. And it's like when, in the old days, people would say like, how can the earth just be floating in air? It must be sitting on something. And like one philosopher or some fucker said like it's sitting on the back of a turtle. And then they say, well, what's that turtle sitting on? And then they go, another turtle. Well, what's that turtle sitting on? Infinite turtles. So the world is balancing on infinite turtles because we just don't have we don't have anything, people. That's it. And so for the vast majority of people, their head hurts and they find it exceedingly pointless, and they would just rather consider that their heart is the epicenter of their love, and that's where all the emotion comes out of. And even if you fucking send them a science book which says 99% of scientists on the planet will tell you emphatically that love does not emanate from the heart. It fucking emanates from the synapses in your fucking brain. And so, and like I've said, I've discovered this stuff by taking certain substances which in an instant just give you that. They just turn the love on. And so it's obviously a fucking chemical. And it doesn't come from the fucking heart. It comes from the chemical reacting in the brain. How many of you want to accept that? How many of you will just continue for the rest of your lives talking about, I feel this in my heart and my heart told me this way to go? It's a complete misnomer. It's nonsense. It's complete nonsense. And so, do you want to live in a world of nonsense? In a world of idiocracy? Well, most people do, because otherwise what do? You're just searching endlessly. But the journey is fascinating. It's fantastic. And it's very rewarding because you do keep learning and learning and learning and learning. But of course it's very isolating because the more you learn, the more you can communicate this stuff to anybody. Anyway, I started saying this, this friend of mine sent me this Indian guru type bloke video. And he was saying that he became disillusioned with the non-duality. The oneness of the cosmos, and everything's one, and it's all consciousness, and it's like God having a dream and all that. But then he said something very, very profound happened to him, which caused him a lot of suffering, and so he couldn't get out, he couldn't avoid, he couldn't dismiss that his human experience was in such a state of reality because the suffering was so profound. And this is the whole notion of Buddhist philosophy. Life is suffering because that's the only thing that you can't get out of ultimately, because you're going to suffer at some stage and you're going to die. And so we came here to suffer. So that's a very, very profound message. As to why that happens on this planet. It's for a very, very good reason, because without suffering then we wouldn't have any of the other beautiful things. We take it all for granted, wouldn't we? So we need suffering to bring perspective, because this dimension is about perspective. And so this guru then, because of his pain, he came down from his ivory tower and he said, "Look, this is just a warning to people because this is what I've discovered, and now I don't feel like that. I've come back down." And it's kind of like, what do you do before enlightenment? You chop wood and you carry water. What do you do after enlightenment? You chop wood and you carry water. And so you've got to come down from your ivory tower at some stage and mix back in with the people. And so this is pretty well exactly what I've just decided to do. I'm going to therapy to get more involved. I'm taking singing lessons to get more involved. I'm actually going on holiday, and I'll talk to you about that and when it actually manifests. So I'm getting back out there again because I can't see myself for the rest of my life living in my cave, as beautiful as it is. I'm at the stage now where I've got all this information, the knowledge and the experience, and it's kind of like, well, doing what I'm doing here with you guys is a dead end, isn't it? Really. I mean, there's some good things come out of it. There has been some very, very good things that have come out of it with people that I've met and contacts that I've met. But they're very, very far and few between. If I got out on a circuit in some sort of way, these things would be happening to me every day. And, whether I could stand that, whether I would find it overwhelming, being such a reserved and sort of insular person these days, I need a lot of time to myself. And this is why I project this sort of attitude in my videos, because if I was super nice and kind and helped everybody and everybody loved me, I'd just be overwhelmed. Too many people on the channel, too many people sending me emails, too many people offering to take me on holiday, and wanting to come to visit me, and asking me to go and visit them, and all these different sorts of stuff. I'm like, I haven't really been able to do that for this past 16 years. And on one occasion when I did do it, it went very wrong. And But that was obviously with the wrong person, a very wrong person. And so I have recovered from that, and I've got to enter into a realm of realism. The likelihood of that ever happening again, now I'm wiser, is extremely improbable. But that was a massive learning curve for me, to encounter a full-blown grandiose narcissist with all the trickery and all the deception and all the evil, abject evil. These people are abject evil. And whether it's some sort of protection mechanism or whether they actually have come here as evil spirits to do this, there are things like this. People, you can read books and books and books about people speaking with spirits and engaging in how spirits operate, and all the rest of it. There is nothing that you can't discover out in the big wide world. Because it's all there. Human consciousness is a crazy and wonderful thing en masse. It's just that there's seemingly only very, very few people that really make anything or create anything or do anything. It's just like the queen bee or the queen ant. They're responsible for producing the whole colony. They produce the worker bees, they produce the foragers, they produce the tenders to the queen, they produce the fucking soldier ants, and they produce all this stuff. And that's their job, that's what they just do, just keep producing. Some people produce, but the vast majority of people don't. And you either are one of those or you're not. And lots of you're suffering and you're looking for a way out of your suffering. And my philosophy invariably isn't showing you the way, because it's vastly too complex for where you are. You want things really, really simple. You want things like, how to meditate, and then, once I've told you, you want me to hold your fucking hand because you can't even do that. How many of you can actually meditate? It's a very, very small proportion. How many of you actually get up every single day with the intention to better yourselves? A very, very small portion. How many of you are meticulous about the things that you do, like I am? A very, very small portion. How many of you are just like mediocre and, you've got no design for anything really, and everything's too much of an effort and a struggle, and you think the world's shit? The vast majority of you, to be fair. And you're caught in this fiction of the monetary trap, thinking that, well, we all have to work, don't we? Well, I'm a living example that we don't all have to work. And then someone's talking in the comments today, well, what if everybody lived like you? Then what would happen? I was like, well, that's such a preposterous notion, because it could never ever happen, because everybody, every single human being would never ever do anything save for eat, shit and breathe. They would never do anything outside of that. We all have our individual way of working through the world. So it's a very, very small-minded, embittered perspective. Yeah, well, if everybody did that, the world would be fucked. Some of us have to work. And it's kind of like, so we have to work to pay your benefit. No, you have no idea how the monetary system works. You have no idea how the power structures work. You have no idea, basically, and you're talking very, very silly. And in the best possible way, I explain this to this person. Because what can we say about ignorance? It's just the lack of knowledge, and so people just need more knowledge. They need to keep reading and watching videos and listening to intellectuals and all this, like I have done for the past 16 years. And by the time you've done that, then you know, you'll have pretty well the answers that you need. And then you'll discover that we don't all need to work. And that there is no such thing as, well, if everybody did this. You know, there used to be an idiot on YouTube, he probably is still, some old geezer, I won't even say his name, but he always used to go, folks, if everybody stopped using their credit card, folks, then the fucking powers that be, they'll all crumble into the ground, folks. And so that's what we've got to do, folks. And then he'd be travelling around on a fucking plane, this, that and the other. How did he buy his ticket? On the fucking credit card, on his debit card, because there's no way you can fucking just walk into an airport and buy one over the fucking counter these days. Who deals in fucking cash? So it's stupid. Oh, we should all use cash, folks. It's just pathetic. People are pathetic. They just pick stupid ass ideas out of their arseholes. Because they don't have the ability to think. I mean, even to say something like that, if everybody did this, that is such a low-level, preposterous notion. If you ever just stop to think about that, hang on, what am I really saying? What's the chances of everybody? What's the chances of even half the people? What's the chances of even a quarter of the people doing one thing? It's just improbable. It's completely improbable. That the human being is extremely diverse. And so it just makes a laughing stock of anybody that even fucking utters these words. And so then I'm not flavour of the month when I point this out. All of a sudden, you know, I'm a big head and I'm talking down to people. For fuck's sake, people. I just can't fucking wear these kid fucking gloves. I'm a philosopher and a fucking psychoanalyst and an intellectual and all the rest of it. And I'm a straight talker. That's why you're on my fucking channel, because you like the straight talking. So if you put stupid dumbass shit down in the comments and you're looking for an answer, well, you better fucking brace yourself. Or you better know what the fuck you're talking about. Now there's, several very experienced people on the channel. They do know what they're talking about. And they get a very, very respectable return comment from me. And so when people come on, oh, you just make straw men of people when anybody doesn't agree with you. No, if you're talking fucking shit, I'm not going to agree with you. And I'm going to fucking tell you you're talking shit. But if you're talking fucking sense, you're not going to get straw-manned. And so these people projecting their insecurities and copy and pasting what's happened to them, what their experience with me was, onto everybody else. Well, you just do this and you just do that to everybody. No, I don't. Read the fucking comments. I don't. You're fucking wrong. You're just projecting your own small-minded shit. So, you know, I suppose I can look forward to a few unsubscribed fucking drones then, can I? Great, because I fucking love that shit. And I'm always telling you people, I'm not fucking taking any prisoners here. I didn't come to bring peace, I came with a sword. If it was good enough for fucking Jesus, it's good enough for me. So you shrinking violets fucking deal with it. And the thing is, I'm very abrasive lots of times. In a egoic sort of projection, because I have an intention to affect your egos if you are susceptible to it. And if you are, then that should be a very prime example that you have got work to do. Because if you can't deal with the things I'm saying to just on my channel, I'm not saying to anyone in particular, am I? But you say you're calling us this and you're calling it. No, if the fucking hat fits you, then wear it. If it doesn't fit you, it just goes straight over your head, doesn't it? So everything I say is something that you need to contemplate. It's all about you, it's not about me. And you don't need to tell me what I should be doing, what I should be saying, and I should be explaining it more, and I should be softer. No, don't be telling me any fucking thing. I'm doing what the Awakened Brave does for very good reasons. The reasons that you'll never even get your head remotely around. It's so multifaceted why I do what I do. And so, that's it, people. That's it. So you've had another good fucking bollocking, another good stiff talking to. How many people are still in the room? How many people still love the Awakened Brave? Come on. You want to rise up, don't you? You want to realise that you're God, don't you? Or do you not? Well, if you don't, you're on the wrong channel. If you do, stick around.